Hello, and welcome to Women's Wellness Corner. My name is Dinara, and I am a women's health coach. And throughout these episodes, I will be teaching you a little bit more about a female body, how to support it, and what you can do in order to have a healthy life. One of my favorite things to do in life is talk about and help women understand the power of their menstrual cycle. Our menstrual cycle is one of the most powerful tools that we have for understanding our body and our health. Yet so many women don't necessarily know what's going on in their bodies throughout the month, which is why almost 85% of women suffer from some sort of hormonal imbalance symptom associated with PMS or premenstrual syndrome or with our periods. Things like irregular periods, painful periods, or cramping, as well as premenstrual syndromes like migraines, mood swings, fatigue, tiredness, low energy, brain fog has become so normalized within our society that we almost consider them as normal. When those symptoms are common, yet they're anything but normal, and there is a lot that is in your power that you can do to support yourself and not have symptoms of discomfort when it comes to our menstrual cycle and our periods. After working with dozens of women, I'm on a mission to help as many women as possible to understand their body and have this sense of predictability of knowing of what's going on within our body from one day to the next. One of the main things that I believe we as women need to understand is to how to nourish our female body. We need to understand how food affects our body and how we can support it, and how we can support our bodies in a way that make us thrive as opposed to just simply survive. Food is a big part of it, and the right diet, and I say the word diet with caution. What I mean by that is the right way of eating and the right nourishment can truly support our hormones and allow us to have periods as well as our menstrual cycle as symptom-free as possible. Because trust me, it's absolutely possible to have pain-free symptoms and not have discomfort associated with that time of the month. And if that sounds crazy to you, trust me, I felt the same way until I learned how to understand what my body's symptoms are telling me and how to support it through it. And one of the fundamental part of it was to understanding how to nourish myself and the sort of foods that I need to eat, which is why today I would like to take you into my kitchen and show you one of the best meals that you can prepare in order to support your periods. And before we jump in, I do want to notice that there is a lot of nutrition information out there. There is continuously the articles that's coming up when telling us to eat this food, not eat that food. There are articles that telling us to be able to go on this diet, not on this diet. And too often, we follow that advice and not see the same results because we all have a very individual body that needs individual support. And I do want to draw a distinction as to what menstrual cycle is and what it isn't. Your menstrual cycle is a hormonal fluctuation of your entire cycle, and your menstrual cycle is so much more than just presence and absence of your periods. In fact, your menstrual cycle has 4 distinct phases. One of them is your period, which lasts anywhere between 5 and 7 days. After your period, you have your pre-ovulatory time, known as follicular phase, which lasts for about 7 to 10 days. After that, we have the time of ovulation, the phase known as ovulatory phase. And post-ovulatory phase, we have about a period of 2 weeks of leading to our period called the luteal phase. And throughout those 4 phases, our hormones ebb and flow. And with the fluctuating hormones, we experience change in our appetite, need for nutrition changes, our desire to be social, to be alone, our desire to eat particular ingredients, as well as our bodies need to have a particular nutrients in order to support those fluctuating hormones. One of the meals that you can prepare to eat during period and support your menstrual phase. Help me with that. I have invited my partner Ben into the kitchen with me to cook up the meal that could be pretty simple for you to replicate at home. Ben has a special appreciation for ingredients just like myself. And throughout this time in the kitchen, we will chat about health, we'll chat about a menstrual cycle, and we'll chat about how easy it is to source really good ingredients that truly support your health. So without a further ado, welcome to my kitchen. Welcome to our kitchen. I am excited to actually bring you into our kitchen today so we can show you some of the staple items that we make in our house and something that's actually beneficial to my period and I think you're quite familiar with.
To mine as well.
And to yours as well. This is Ben, this is my partner, and he's actually the person that kind of got me into cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, should we get started in chopping and then...
That sounds good.
We will be using a variety of vegetable ingredients for this recipe: baby potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, Brussels sprouts, Savoy cabbage, red cabbage, and salmon. You can tell me a little bit about...
Let's start with the potatoes, because that's what takes the longest to cook. So just slice them in 4, put them in a bowl, and then we can add the spices.
When I first met Ben, he was an incredible chef, and he started to make a lot of... I think what I really liked about you is your appreciation for ingredients.
Yeah, well, I think I love, first and foremost, I love eating. And that's why I got into cooking. So I started living on my own when I studied, and I was like, okay, I cannot keep eating like, just white pasta every day with a bit of butter and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just started to get interested in vegetables, fish, all those kind of things that we're gonna cook tonight, and that's my learning curve, my cooking learning curve.
How did you discover the love for whole foods and the vegetables and fruits?
I don't know. That's a good question. I always loved fruit, like for breakfast. I think it gives you like a lot of energy. Obviously, a bit of like sweetness that is nice in the morning, I found. And then when I moved to England, so we always say that British are famous for their curry. We say as a joke that the national dish is the curry because there's a strong Indian community, especially in London. But actually, they have also quite like a bit of love for veggies, and for whenever they make a roast on Sunday, which is one of the most popular dishes in the UK, the Sunday roast, then they cook all these kind of things, right? Potatoes, vegetables, sweet potatoes, all of these. So I started to discover that, and I was like, oh, that's actually really simple to make. Takes a bit of preparation, but just a little bit, like everything.
Yeah.
But then, as soon as you spiced everything, you chopped everything, then you just have to show everything in the oven for a certain amount of time. So it's not like a hard dish to make.
Yeah, as you get into the habit. And I like that you mentioned sweet potatoes because actually, Ben loves potatoes more, and I like sweet potatoes more. And sweet potatoes are actually incredibly good for females, specifically about a couple of weeks before of our period. As we get into the second half of our cycle, sweet potato has this complex carbohydrate. It's actually quite different than a potato in the way that it absorbs within our bodies. And whenever 2 weeks before our period, for many women out there, you'd notice that you have a lot of cravings, you get naturally more hungry, and whenever we're not, your body naturally craves more calories during this time. So in order to offset the cravings for things like sugar and for easy burning calories, one of the best ways that you can do so is actually by eating sweet potatoes. And some of my favorite things are wild rice and sweet potatoes, which I always have on hand. I'm not as big of a fan of potatoes as Ben is, but I like the taste of it. What do you think about the taste of sweet potatoes in comparison?
Well, as the name says, it's a bit sweeter.
Mm,
It's totally different kind of vegetable, isn't it?
yeah.
It just doesn't taste the same. I like both. Like loose potatoes in a bowl, a bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, herbs,
I'm going to
you know.
cut this off. Let's cut this off. So one of the things that I like to talk about is the different phases of our cycle and different nutrition that we need at different times. And specifically during the period, which is the meal that we're focusing on today, for those women, typically during their period, you would want to focus on things that have all three macronutrients. And those are fats, those are minerals, and those are complex carbohydrates, which is this sweet potato looking thing is going to be, as well as all of our vegetables. We've got some carrots, we've got some Brussels sprouts, but one of the best sources of protein and of minerals specifically to have during your period is actually salmon. And for us being located in British Columbia, we are lucky to have really good
all sorts of salmon.
all sorts of salmon.
Sockeye.
Yeah, and good quality. Whenever you're choosing your salmon, I would opt in for wild caught salmon. And luckily for us living in Vancouver, this is definitely something that is available at large.
Yep, easily available here.
Yeah, definitely. And talk a little bit about spices. What are the things that you're putting on the vegetables?
So I put a bit of ginger, garlic powder, some kind of Italian mix, but I think that's mainly oregano now. Oregano with like province herb and stuff like that. Salt, pepper, olive oil, soy sauce. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of chili flakes because I like a little kick, and curry powder.
As far as spices, another thing I wanted to mention for women specifically, it's actually incredibly spices are sort of this underrated secret that's really good for our hormones. We use spices, try to use them quite excessively. Some of the staple items are actually oregano, ginger powder, and the garlic powder, and of course salt and pepper. And I quite often use turmeric as well because turmeric is highly anti-inflammatory. And whenever I use turmeric, I try to use it with black pepper because the curcumin, the element in turmeric that is that has that anti-inflammatory sort of abilities index, whatever you call it, with it, whenever it's combined with black pepper, it actually multiplies times, don't remember the number, but it multiplies its effects of anti-inflammatory effects. So definitely mix those two together. Your potatoes are looking amazing. I'm going to
smells good too, yeah. I'm just gonna transfer the potatoes once they're all mixed up with my spices in a little oven dish, oven tray, and I'll shove it in the oven. Sorry, at 380 degrees for about 45-50 minutes. Sometimes a bit more, depends how you like them, but yeah.
You like your potatoes very cooked.
Well, I like them cooked, right?
I mean, so do I. I don't think anybody enjoys raw potatoes, but
yeah, I think the thing with you is that sometimes you get a bit too hungry, and you don't want to wait for the potatoes to be fully cooked.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't have enough patience.
It's actually quite important and quite underrated that having beautiful food, like a beautiful dish, you know, I don't think it has any health benefit, but it makes it look more yummy, right? So it helps you eating like veggie if you have like lots of colors in your food and all those kind of things. That's why here I got like carrots, a bit of Brussels sprouts. Then we got this sweet potato, whatever that is. You have lemon. You know, it just makes it look prettier, and I'm sure that kids will like it better. You know, because it just looks like a little rainbow of food. I think it's important as well.
I think definitely there's a saying eating the rainbow, which essentially every single nutrient, depending on the color of the food. And we've got some red cabbage here, we've got Brussels sprouts, which is green, we've got carrots, which is yellow, orange. Sorry, we've got lemon that's yellow. Eating the rainbow, different colors within different foods, meaning that they have different nutrients in different vitamins. And as far as for food looking good, what I really like that you said is that you want to eat pretty food because your relationship with food and your digestion actually becomes the moment that you look at your dish. That's the time when you begin salivating. If you see loads of lemons, you sort of begin like, even I feel it in my mouth right away as soon as I mention it. But your relationship with food and your digestive tract begins to get activated the moment that you see the food. So whenever we actually see and appreciate the food and get that entire experience, allowing our taste buds to get warmed up, allowing our digestive system to get sort of prepared, ready for what it's about to receive. Here we're talking about gut and brain connection, and it's the entire digestion process begins from probably actually preparation. And where do you get your ideas for decorating food?
Um, I just like something that is colorful, something that has a bit of sparkle. So most of the time what I do is I try to have at least like 3 different colors in my dish. So if I have like pink salmon, I try to have like one green, so either like broccoli, cabbage, or sprouts, and something else like like a yellow potato, sweet potato, something like that. It makes it look good, and then whenever I plate my food, so I put everything in the plate. And I like to add a bit of like spice on top of it just to make it look extra nice, like a bit of paprika, a bit of pepper or parsley. Like if you get any fresh herbs, it always looks good just to top your food with a little bit of chopped fresh herbs. So yeah, but you can keep it really basic, really simple, and still make it look like really, really delicious and really nice for anyone, even people who don't like veggie. You can make it crack. You can crack the code.
Absolutely. And I think we complicate nutrition. We think that healthy food is complicated, but actually, it just comes down to trying different ingredients, chopping it up, putting loads of spices on it, and your hormones will thank you. Your cycle will be more painless. Your anxiety, depression that's so tightly connected to our gut health and to our hormones would get better. There's just so many benefits to actually falling in love and just cooking like this. Let's spice those veggies up.
Let's do this. So I always start with a bit of olive oil. So it kind of like wraps up all the veggie with a bit of liquid. Right. And I add usually soy sauce. That is, soy sauce on top.
This is colorful.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you earlier. I like my food being colorful. Bit of carrots. And it's not only colorful for the eyes, but also for your skin. Like if you eat carrots, there's a lot of beta carotene, right, in there.
Vitamin A, yeah, beta carotene is amazing.
Carrots.
I love those chili flakes, and now we got some oregano.
Oregano, yes, sorry. I put some chili flakes, some turmeric, and now I'm gonna put some garlic powder. I'm about to sneeze. Oof. Look at that.
That is amazing.
Oh, garlic powder, a bit more. Attack.
And this is pretty simple. Honestly, all it is chopping.
Chopping and grinding.
Chopping and grinding.
Pepper, because we like a bit of pepper. And a bit of salt to finish it up. And then you just take a spatula and you kind of mix it up. And make it look gorgeous. Alright.
Amazing.
And now I'm just gonna take a tray and put everything in that tray. And that's about it.
Let's load it up.
How
long are we gonna put it in the oven for?
I would say like about 30 minutes. It depends on how thick your veggies are cut as well. The thinner, the faster it's gonna cook. That's why we cut them quite thinly. If you like them a bit chunkier, then you might need to add like an extra like 10-15 minutes to the 40 minutes that we're gonna leave them for. It also depends how you like veggie as well.
Yeah.
Like them nicely roasted, you like them a bit crunchy.
Off they go. And at what temperature?
You're doing an 80 Fahrenheit.
Oh my gosh, obviously I can't translate smell through here, but it does smell amazing. Let's spice up this salmon. I did want to chat about omega-3 within salmon and how amazing it is for women, specifically if you've got PMS, if you've got period pain. The anti-inflammatory abilities of salmon is something that is incredibly helpful for reducing inflammation, giving you those omega-3s, and it just tastes delicious. Are you going to walk us through how you're going to spice
so
it?
salmon, I like to start it with a bit of like squeezed lemon up top. And then I don't usually put olive oil because salmon's got naturally a lot of fat. So adding olive oil on top, I find like make it just a bit more fatty, which is not actually needed. Even if you fry salmon in a pan, you don't really need to add that much fat because it's not gonna stick. It's just naturally like a bit of a fatty fish. It's meant to be good fat. That's what I heard.
It is good fat, omega-3s.
Okay, so I'm adding up the garlic powder. So just a little bit like that, like a bit like through the salmon, over the salmon, sorry. Well, then I'm gonna add a bit of herb. So for me, it's oregano. That's one of my favorite herb. But dill blends and mix quite well also with salmon, parsley as well. Dill, yeah, there's a famous recipe with salmon and dill. But for some reason, it's not my favorite, so I just like do it my own way, right?
All right.
Adding up a bit of pepper. I find also that whole pepper, freshly grinded, is always a bit tastier, a bit more like fresh than already ground pepper, but that is my preference. I add a bit of soy sauce. This is my grandma technique. She always like put a bit of soy sauce everywhere. It just gives this extra like saltiness. I mean, in Japan they use a lot of soy sauce, right? When you eat sushi and stuff, so can't be bad if Japanese do it. And a little bit, oops, I opened the wrong side, a little bit of chili flakes to give a nice little kick to your food. And here I've got the 3 little slices of lemon that are on top. And that's it. Just need to put in the oven.
Thank you for spending time with us, and I hope that throughout this episode you were able to see just how simple it is to choose the ingredients that truly support your health. And I hope that you'd be able to replicate it at home. And just to summarize, the menstrual phase, specifically during the time of your period, given that this is the time of our bleed, you'd want to be consuming nutrients that are rich in minerals and iron. One of the best things for minerals is seafood, which is what we have prepared today. But you can also opt in for things that are rich in iron, be that steak, burgers, lentils, or beans. I hope you have taken something away from this episode, and I'll see you next time.